In this video, we're going to talk about how to open the mystical third eye, what it is, what it does, how you can get yours to open, and stick around to the very end of the video because I'm going to show you my very super favorite secret technique for enhancing your connection with the third eye and making sure that your connection with it is as strong as possible. Hi, I'm Marna, and thank you for joining me. So today we're talking about the third eye, and oh, doesn't that sound like a creepy way of saying it? I mean, after all, we're talking swamis and mediums and all the scary, spooky stuff, right? Not quite. So the third eye is an actual location on the human body. It's right about here. And this is the flat spot on your forehead that is directly in front of where the pineal gland is in your brain. And yes, that is relevant. You see, the pineal gland is where your brain physically connects to the energetic forces around you. So this is your doorway to connecting to the greater energies of the universe. Once you can open this doorway and make this connection, then you become exposed to feeling things like the greater universal consciousness, understanding how all humanity is really one energetic being, how we are all connected to each other, and it opens you up to all of those wonderful mystical things like telepathy and being able to sense what other people around you are feeling. Now, if you're already an empath, your third eye is already partially open and probably has been your entire life. The truth is, all of us are born with our third eye open and with this knowledge. You see, up until the time we're about 6 or 7 years old, we are constantly in a theta state, which means that the pineal gland and the energy forces there are connected to the greater energy around us. It's only after we start being indoctrinated by society into viewing ourselves as a separate being that we start to lose this connection. So we spend most of adolescence and the teenage years forgetting that we ever had this ability. And then after a while, when you realize what you've lost, without even realizing that you lost it, you start wanting to get it back. And this is why we have things like videos on how to open the third eye. Now, there are 4 main techniques that you need to know for opening your third eye. The first technique is you really, really, really need to get good at being silent. I know we hate silence in this society because if you're quiet, if you're not keeping your mind distracted, then you start thinking. And you may not always like what you think. You may find you don't like the person doing the thinking. And then where are you, right? But it's in learning to appreciate not only silence around us, but silence within us, that we open our energies up to receiving the messages that are already being sent to us by the greater energies of the universe. You see, the entire universe has a universal consciousness that, it's like the force. It binds everything together. Now, whether it's the dark side or the light side, it's entirely up to the person using it. Energy does not have an alignment that way. There's positive and negative, but that is on an energetic level. Proton charges, not on, good versus evil, the light side versus the dark. But to listen to these energies, you have to be willing to hear them. And to hear them, you have to be quiet, which means you have to practice meditations for silencing those racing thoughts in your brain. And I know, trust me, I know, if you have any hint of ADHD at all, like I do, silencing your brain can be a challenge. But you can do it with focus and with practice. And at the end of this video, I'm going to show you one of the best techniques for doing that. The second thing you need to learn so that you can fully open your third eye is to trust your intuition. Trust that that still inner voice, that inner knowing, that certainty of fact, really does know what it's talking about. And this is hard, particularly if you've been gaslit. If you've ever been in this type of relationship where someone teaches you to doubt yourself, teaches you to doubt what you see, what you witness with your own two eyes, it can be very hard to trust your intuition, because often that intuition goes counter to what the world is telling you. The more you learn to trust it, the better your relationship with your third eye is going to be, the wider open that eye will be, and the more you will perceive of the energies around you. Now, the third thing you can do to open your third eye more is get creative. Have you ever noticed when you're talking to really creative people, painters, sculptors, writers, whatever, singers, musicians, they tend to get onto flights of fancy very easily? That's because of this creative center that's been opened up in their brain. That's because they are no longer just listening to the hemisphere of the brain that's all logic all the time. And instead, they are listening to the side of their brain that allows that interpretation of your intuition without even telling you what's going on. They've learned how to tap into that subconscious mind and listen to it. And the more they listen to it, the stronger it becomes. And the fourth technique that you really need to know to get your third eye to open is you need to learn how to ground yourself. I know, I've just been talking about all these flights of fancy stuff, right? Grounding? Grounding is where you find the center of yourself, your being, who you are. And you know that center of yourself, that becomes your sure point that you can come back to after these flights of fancy. Having that secure point to return to is what makes it safe for you to go all out with all the rest of it. You see, the third eye here is directly connected through the chakra line with every other chakra in your body, right down to the root one. All of these energies build on each other. Without having that firm knowledge of yourself that comes in through your sacral chakra, then you do not have the ability to fully open and recognize the possibilities of your third eye chakra, or even of your crown chakra, which is a different video entirely. So that is the basics for what you need to do to get your third eye to open. So now that we've got the theory, let's talk a practicals tip. This is the technique that I used when I was first learning how to open mine, and it's the one that I still prefer to use when I'm coming back into grounding myself, whenever I've had to reestablish my spiritual practice, whenever I've, drifted away from myself, because we all do from time to time. I mean, we're only human. What I do is I take a lit candle, and I hope that the glare won't be too bad so you can actually see this. There we go. So you take this lit candle, and you see that spot right above the wick before where the color of the flame starts? That is your focus point. Focus on that clearness, that emptiness. And when your mind can focus on that emptiness without being distracted by the color around it, that is when you'll be opening yourself up to receive the energies around you. Now, what I have noticed over the years, particularly for those of us who are challenged with being able to focus well, by giving yourself that physical point to focus on, you are distracting your mind from the need to keep itself entertained. You have provided your brain with something to keep it busy while you're encouraging it to be silent. So that is my favorite tip, and that's why it's my favorite tip, because it works with people who are scattered energetically. It works with people who have ADHD. It works with people who have trouble focusing. So, I am Marna. Thank you for joining me. If you would like to have any additional tips on how to focus into your third eye chakra and get it working and flowing well for you, I did write a free PDF that includes this in my basic manifestation practices. If you would like a copy, I'm dropping my email in the description box below. Let me know. I will be happy to send it to you free of charge. Yeah, the information is more important than anything else. So, I'm Marna. Thank you for joining me. Boober has a message for you, and I will see you in the next video. Boober would like to remind you to please boop the like button. Thank you.